Hi, I'm Dr. Geoffrey Grammer. I'm a psychiatrist and retired Army colonel. Welcome to the show. Yesterday, we saw the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel for comments he made referencing the murder of Charlie Kirk. To the MAGA out there, the brunt of the joke was when Trump was asked about how he was personally dealing with his grief surrounding the loss of Kirk. He pivoted within a second or two to discussing construction at the White House.
White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years, and it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
Kimmel misspoke when he called the shooter a MAGA member, though it would have been probably more accurate to claim that the shooter identified with Nick Fuentes' Groyper's group and not the radical left. But you're not going to see that on Fox News or Newsmax, so this next part may not resonate with you. So today, for the rest of you, I want to explore the hidden psychological costs of suppressing free speech, not just on society at large, but on individual minds and relationships. We'll look at what happens when people feel that they cannot speak freely and why this has ripple effects far beyond politics. When people feel that they can't say what they truly think, the first casualty is going to be authenticity. Psychological research shows that self-censorship increases stress, which can then increase anxiety and can even result in physiologic consequences like elevations in blood pressure. Humans have basic needs for self-expression. Maslow's hierarchy of needs place this under the idea of self-actualization. Take that away, and you erode someone's sense of identity and agency. Long-term suppression of expression also leads to learned helplessness. People begin to internalize the idea that their voice doesn't matter, and this can fuel both depression and disengagement. It's not just a political issue, it's a mental health issue. Now, let's zoom out a bit and talk about communities and workplaces. When speech is suppressed, trust deteriorates. People begin to second-guess not only what they say, but what others really think. And this creates a culture of suspicion and self-monitoring. It's something that social psychologists call pluralistic ignorance. Because many members may privately disagree, they assume that they're in the minority and they remain silent, or they conform to what they perceive as the group norm, even if that perception is inaccurate. This is precisely what I think is happening with the legacy of Charlie Kirk. He was offensive to many people, rigid in his thinking, abusive in some of his conversations, and yet he's being revered as a civil rights leader akin to Martin Luther King. And I think many people disagree with that. Retribution to anyone not towing a pro-Charlie Kirk talking point or line will cause those who found him to be offensive to believe that they hold a minority opinion. This dynamic erodes problem-solving. People that fear honest dissent make poor decisions because they begin to filter information through fear rather than through truth and data. In healthcare, the military, intelligence community, or any high-stakes setting, this can be catastrophic. RFK's Maha movement is demonstrating this, I think, really well. There's no scientific doubt that vaccines work. mRNA vaccines are safe. And ivermectin is a big old waste of time when it's used to treat COVID or cancer. On a societal level, suppressing free speech doesn't eliminate dangerous ideas. It can just drive them underground, where they radicalize without challenge. Open debate is an immunization. Think of it like psychological immunity against bad ideas. If you've ever been in a circumstance where someone says, "Hey, hold my beer," before doing something really risky and stupid, it would be really regretful if you didn't feel at liberty to say, "I think this is not a good idea." If your voice feels risky or pointless, why vote? Why volunteer? Or why speak up? That apathy creates fertile ground for authoritarianism because power faces less resistance. And I think this last point is the point. Ironically, heavy-handed censorship often backfires. Psychologists call this reactance. The more people feel their freedom is restricted, the more attractive the forbidden idea becomes. And this causes increased polarization. Whatever you do, don't look in the closet makes people want to look in the closet. I think what we're seeing is another and probably the largest step towards full authoritarianism in the United States. And I think the Democratic Party would be wise to listen to folks like Sherry Jacobus and Tara Dublin and their advice for coordinating a communication strategy. My opinion, we should have a 24/7 media room utilizing both traditional and social media platforms to counter a growing shout in the MAGA party and suppression of any dissent. Otherwise, I am afraid we'll continue to see civil rights disappear, religious freedom outlawed unless you're a Christian, and opportunities for health, happiness, and prosperity to just evaporate to the benefit of the few ultra-wealthy. So the psychological consequences of suppressing free speech aren't abstract. They live in our stress levels, in our workplaces, and in our politics, and our ability to trust one another gets compromised. Free speech isn't just a legal principle, it's a psychological nutrient. And when it's denied, minds and societies get sick. Thank you for listening. If you found this helpful, please subscribe for more episodes about the intersection of psychology, health, and politics. Stay safe, stay informed.